Hey guys, this is a quick tip Tuesday on how to use the Transit 2 with the presets made by yours truly. They asked me to make official presets for it, and I made 30. Transit 2 is like a powerhouse plugin that's really hard to encompass into one sentence other than it f***s. It's a really cool, creative way to build up all kinds of signal chains in one area where you can map everything to interact with a macro that you set up for it. So in other words, you have one big knob or one button and you can make a whole world happen. And once again, I'm hooking up a little bit of a discount code for you. So if you use the code BADSNACKS in all caps at checkout, you'll get 10% off of Transit 2. So I have a short little sketch here and the only effects plugin on it is Transit 2. So I'm gonna be showing you what it does, some of my presets, how it sounds, how it works. And we're gonna just get right into it. So let's start with the drums. Without Transit, the drums sound like this. It's just a little drum loop. And then with Transit, sounds like this. It's kind of a subtle difference, but I threw the drums through dynamic warble because it's an envelope follower that will detect the strongest transients. And every time it detects those transients, it'll do a little bit of a pitch warble, a little bit of phaser, a little bit of compression, and a distortion. And it's cool because you get these kind of almost like reversey sounds coming out of it. Especially for those snares. It's just a little bit of stank, just the right amount of stank. Moving on to the chords, I just have this lovely little patch. Which already sounds pretty nice, but then I threw art school type beat on here. And this is an example of a patch with one of the large macros that a bunch of stuff is mapped to. So if we throw it in, I'm gonna throw the mix up just a little bit. It's essentially a reversed pitch shifted delay with distortion and a little bit of compression. And I think it adds a really nice amount of sauce. The next part of the signal is one of my personal favorite presets, which is called Long Live LET. And if you know what LET stands for, you get brownie points in my book. This is a sidechain preset, which means that we can sidechain from our drums. And every time it detects a transient from our drum track, it's going to distort it and filter it down, which reminds me of the kind of filter techniques that a lot of LET beat makers used to use. So that's why I called it that. Moving on to my little Plucky riff here. This is without the Transit. So on one of the Plucky riff tracks, I threw a preset that I made called Dolphin Dive in here because it kind of reminds me of how dolphins dive under the water and then they come back out and stuff like that. So I have it going at a 1-bar sequence. You guys get it? I think it's cool. And then the second one, I threw one called Radioactive, which has a pitch shifter and oscillator as well as noise and distortion phasing on it. And then you can solo them together. And then last but not least, I have all these violin stacks that just dry. I have no effects on them. Chords. This one I threw Portal to the Upside Down on. Shout out Stranger Things Season 5. And this one is kind of my more wonky preset. And this one is also really fun as a transitional effect. Like I could go from this. It just goofs it up in like a pretty crazy trippy way, but I really like this one. I lied to you guys. I actually have one more preset I'm going to show you. I threw it on the master and it is my swoop preset that I like to use for transitions. That was like a very intense example, but it is basically a noise riser with like phasing, distortion, compression all over it. And it makes for a really good riser because you can map it straight to your MIDI controller, which I think is one of the, like the most like powerhouse things about this plugin is that any of these macros that you decide to use, whether it is like the knob or the sequencer or the gate or whatever, you can MIDI map anything, which makes it so powerful for live performance as well. So for all of those DJs who are using Ableton and stuff like that, you can really customize any kind of transitional effects you could ever possibly think of. So those are just a handful of the presets that I made. Like I said, I made 30 dang presets for Baby Audio, and I think they are all really fun. So I hope you check them out. I'm a really big fan of Transit 2. Again, if you want a little 10% off discount, use the code BADSNACKS at checkout. And I hope you guys enjoy because this stuff is really, really fun.